creating a campaign, sorry, I was distracted, is to find an objective for that campaign. That's really all you need to actually think about. Because once you get that objective, it's just getting the PCs there somehow, and then giving them a way to find it, to actually be able to do the objective. Everything else the PCs will take care of. Yeah, everything else the player characters will take care of. Now, what I did for my very first campaign is I gave them a bunch of different quests to start them out. Just like that way, because the players were new and so was I to the game. So if your group is new, give them a couple of easy quests with a few encounters to give them a feel for the game, and then start becoming a dungeon master, rather than just being, here's a quest, go do it, alright, you did it, here's your reward. Then, after you've gotten a feel for the game and how it actually works, then you can start being a dungeon master. Then you can start being the storyteller, you can start adding NPCs of different types, like allies, and as well as villains. So, that way you can, like, so, I think that's it. We covered, right, setting up an encounter. That's very important. You got to plan ahead with these encounters. Now, obviously, as a DM, dealing with player characters with a mind of their own, there's going to be a lot of improvisation. I said that wrong the first time. I'm sorry. There's going to be a lot of improv. And so you have to be good at that. You have to be able to bring them from one point to another while they are able to make the decisions. Because if they can't make any real decisions, they won't really have much fun. And a little advice from another dungeon master in my group. He was sort of a bad dungeon master, but it was his first time, and it was really like a couple-hour campaign. It was supposed to be like literally just an hour at most, at literally most. But it took a couple hours because he depended on us doing something that we didn't really want to do. Like, see, his idea was that we're supposed to go into a labyrinth, go down a hole, and there were a bunch of minotaurs that we had to kill. And wait, where is it? Oh, yeah, okay. So, we were supposed to go down a hole and find a bunch of minotaurs. Well, he described a hole with, like, sounds coming out of it, and we were thinking, probably shouldn't go down that hole. So we went around it and kept going. We knew what we wanted to do. He knew what we wanted to do. Unfortunately, what we wanted to do and what he wanted us to do are two totally different things. So, if the plot of your story depends on something like that, something that you wouldn't think, as a player character, you wouldn't really want to do, make them do it. I don't mean, like, puppet them into it. But, like, for him, my advice would have been, have us fall down the hole. Give us a spot check, tell us we failed, fall down the hole. We take a little fall damage, and the battle begins. Now, that would have been some more advice for I want to give you is that not only do you have to be good at improv, but you also have to be able to plan. Like, you need to be able to plan special encounters. Certain encounters that move the story forward. My suggestion, as a dungeon master, I wish I had thought of this. Buy a module. Buy something specified. Like, a specific campaign that you can play. That you can dungeon master. This campaign, basically, this module lays out the campaign, gives you everything you need to know, and basically tells you, here's what you read, here's what happens, here's what you're supposed to do, go for it. Now, it's not very specific, because I have here a couple of them. If you can't hear it, I actually wanted to do this one, but I realized that we couldn't, because we were missing some of the maps. But it basically it tells you the basic story, it gives you a couple of maps of the most important things, and then it gives you the encounters, right here. It tells you how to start the encounter, what to read, and then it tells you like, the people there, it tells you the tactics for the people that you're fighting, and then it tells you what is supposed to happen afterwards, how it's supposed to move them forward, and it also gives you suggestions as to what you should do if the players decide to avoid that specific encounter. Like, the first encounter in there is basically what sets up the main storyline. The players see a pillar of smoke, and they have a decision: should they go and try to find out what that is, or should they not? That encounter depends on them saying, yes, we should, let's go. Which most PCs will do. Most people will want to see what that is, because they know there's going to be an encounter regardless of what it is. There's going to be some sort of encounter. And considering that it's the very first encounter, it's probably going to set up the storyline. But if they choose not to, because some will, then it tells you, set up, try to lead them into the story in a different way, and here's what would happen if they didn't go, so you should probably put that in as well. And these campaigns are very easy to dungeon master. I suggest starting with those so you know, as a dungeon master, what to expect from your group. That way you can play with your campaign to fit that group. That's just about it. Now, peace off.